This is Justin. I just wanted to do a quick video here to show you my drum miking technique for this Manasota project, which the video is a little bit dark. I apologize. It's not a very bright room here. But this is kind of a weird drum miking technique that I came up with actually just on this project. I'm sure it's been used before, but I never knew about it until I just decided to try it. But basically what I'm doing is I'm miking areas of the drums rather than the drums themselves. So if you'll see here, I have two lower mics. I have one down here and then one right there. And then I have two upper mics, overheads, and I'm basically using all dynamic mics, and they're all different too. Basically, the reason for that is, and if you'll notice, these two up here are actually even different heights. And this is, I know it's really weird, and most people wouldn't do that, but hey, I like to be different. But no, that's not the reason, really. It was just because it sounded good. I tried a bunch of different mics, and I ended up liking this. Actually, I have two of these. These are RE18s, vintage EV mics, and there's one up there. And that one is kind of getting the floor tom and ride cymbal, so you'll see that. And then the other overhead is an SM57 copy. It's actually not even a real SM57, but it is pointed down, and it's rather low. I have it so you can get the crash and the hi-hat and the snare, and a little bit of the rack tom too, but it's mostly pointed straight down at those three items. The kick drum mic, this one's probably the weirdest one of the bunch. It's basically pointed almost at the snare drum, as if you were miking the snare drum through the kick drum from the side of the kick drum. And yeah, I realize this is very weird, but what that does is basically it gets a little bit of bottom snare, it gets a lot of low end from the kick, and this is actually a kick drum mic, and it also gets a lot of low end from the floor tom. So that one I usually have pretty much dead center on the mix. This one down here is another RE18. I don't know if you can even see that, but it's pointed up kind of at an angle to get the bottom head of the snare drum and the bottom head of the bottom hi-hats and a little bit of the rack tom too. Now, actually today, I wanted to do this video today because I think this is going to be my last drum tracking for this project. I believe this is the last song unless I come up with another one, but I'm probably out of room or space for the album if it actually gets completed. So, but actually I used my set. This is a kind of a Pearl copy with concert toms that I had customized a few years ago. And all the other songs on the album were actually done with this kit, which is my sister Chelsea's vintage Slingerland. And I just hadn't played my drums in a long time, and I knew nobody was going to be in here today, so I dug them out and set them up. And they really sound great. I mean, they sound pretty similar, actually, on the recording to the other ones. I used my snare and cymbals and hi-hats and everything for all of them, so it's not too different. You just have a slightly different kick drum and a little bit different head tom sounds on it. But yeah, so that's it. And here's the other stuff. It's my interface. It's an Alesis, and it has 4 inputs, and I'm using Cubase, which came with the Alesis. And it's all on Windows, no Macs. Sorry, Mac.